All righty, guys. Excuse me. Um, all right. We are back. At least I'll back. I don't have my. Well, you're signed in. Okay. Portal hyper. Excuse me, guys. Just slammed some food down. Portal hypertension. Now, as you see, we don't have any traffic today in El Paso. A little bit of a road closure right there, but for the most part, no traffic. But if we were to imagine instead of these being roads, if we could imagine that. Let's see, we could imagine some organs in here. We gotta put a liver over there, and you could add a stomach and a C-loop of the duodenum in there, and maybe a spleen, and let's go ahead and put a kidney over here as well. Now you start to see that El Paso is alive. It's all connected. And so what I'm going to talk to you about today is what happens when this connection goes bad. So, and let's see, I'm right here. So we have let's do some. Make sure I'm on the right level so I don't go. Okay. Want to be able to erase this later. Let's see. We have the main portal vein going between Mexico and the Franklin Mountains up here into the Porta Hepatis, and splits into the right and left portal veins. Prior to that, we could imagine that there's actually a spleen right there. Let's get rid of that spleen. It just starts to get ugly. But the spleen is sitting on top of this vessel. Of course, that's the splenic vein here. And this, well, I had to follow the, what is that, the border highway. Border highway is now actually the superior mesenteric vein. It all converges at, I don't know what this is. I forgot what you guys, as if I don't live here, what we all call this around here. Anyways, this is splenic vein, superior mesenteric vein. There's other veins, but that aren't a part of the portal system, so I don't have anything else written in there yet. Ooh, this one here is, we need to know this one. This one is either called the coronary vein, although I prefer left gastric vein, so it's going to feed, well, part of the stomach. And off of that, and if it were only the left gastric vein feeding the stomach, we wouldn't care, but it also feeds the esophageal vein or veins. And so only the lower part of the esophagus is drained into the portal system. But so let's actually think about that. Everything's going to the liver, right? We have hepatopedal, hepatopedal flow, meaning going towards the liver and towards the right lobe, towards the left lobe. Let's get rid of some of these arrows. Oh no. I don't want to make a mess here too much. Anyway, that's the basic. Oh, and 75%. 75% of the blood entering liver is from main portal vein, which means 25%. Let's just quickly draw in. Let me choose the color I want. We'll just draw in an artery here, 25% hepatic artery. Now, 2 blood supplies. That's actually, that's good news, because the first thing we're going to talk about is pre-sinusoidal portal hypertension. We're going to want that 25% blood supply to the liver, because I'm going to tell you right now, the 75% is going away. Actually, I can just get rid of this entire layer and that. Actually, I can get rid of it. Is that good? That's good. Okay. So I just cleaned it up a little bit. Oh, I just got rid of 2 layers. I wonder if I can I undo that? Yes, thank you. I do want that layer still. Okay. Pre-sinusoidal generally means that we have a problem before the liver. The sinusoids, the sinuses, those are considered in the liver. So we could also say, this is pre-liver. So if it's pre-liver, liver might very well be healthy. So liver healthy, I'll put a little question mark behind that, because maybe it's not, but the liver on pre-sinusoidal portal hypertension, the liver is certainly can be perfectly healthy. It's not going to be happy, but it's going to be healthy. So let's kind of give you guys an idea of what this means. Sorry, I got so much stuff going over here on my other screen. Boink. Okay, if you didn't see it, I just added a big blood clot, a big thrombosis of the main portal vein. Obviously not a good thing. So thrombosis of the main portal vein, and let's just say, for argument's sake, it's completely thrombosed. That 75% blood supply is just stopped. And so thank God we have a hepatic artery going in, feeding the entire liver off that 25%. So the liver doesn't die, even though the main supply of blood to it has just been removed. So what happens over here? Well, we still have blood trying to make its way up and across and down, but it can't quite do it. And so the blood pressure in this vein goes up. Now, with pre-sinusoidal, there is a solution to this problem, which is a little bit different than sinusoidal or post-sinusoidal. And it's a solution that the body comes up with. It is called, in fact, this deserves a little more room to write. Cavernous, yeah. Transformation of the main portal vein. Cavernous transformation of the main portal vein. So what does that mean? I'm going to add something. Actually, let's go ahead and erase something first. Okay. I'm going to add a little something here. This purple, and when we see it on ultrasound, oops, here, let's that end. When we see it on ultrasound, it'll be a fluorid color. In other words, a lot of aliasing in here. We're going to see a bunch of worm tracks going into the liver, but not the main portal vein. This is called collateral flow. And I've purposely tried to follow some of the streets here. Collateral flow is what happens when there's a, let's say, a major accident on the road. They shut down the highway. You can't get up to Las Cruces or over to the west side. What do? You start following the smaller streets, and those streets will swell with cars. And so collateral flow is swelling with blood. These vessels, they always existed, but they were tiny. Write that. They were always there, but they were tiny, and they were just vessels that just happened to remain after you were developed in the womb. But now they're being recruited to get blood into the to liver. This is, by the way, long term. In other words, you don't get a thrombosis and then get collaterals overnight, or at least not, there might be some flow going around immediately, but for these vessels to grow in size, to become sufficient collateral flow, that takes a long time. So that's long-term thrombus in this case. Now, and so this collateral flow is called the cavernous transformation. Cavernous trans. Now here's the thing about the thrombosis in here. We could very, very easily not see it. The main portal vein may be isoechoic to the liver. The main portal vein, in other words, the thrombus, the thrombus in the main portal vein may be isoechoic to the liver. In other words, you're looking at this with grayscale, you see nothing. You don't even see, initially anyway, you don't see anything, and so then you put your color on and you get this all these different colors going in, but no main portal vein, and then you take a closer look and suddenly, oh my gosh, I see the outline. I see the outline of the main portal vein, but what I don't see is any lumen. And that lumen just happens to be the isoechoic to the liver. That happens a lot. So one of the first things people will do is they'll put color on, and they see all these different channels going in, and that's the clue that they get, like, oh my gosh, maybe I need to take a second look, and sure enough, there it is, right under their nose, right in front of them, but it can be at times completely hidden from view, even though it's right in the middle of our screen. Okay. So that is pre-sinusoidal. That happened before the liver. That could be because of oral contraceptive use. Could be that you're a hypercoagulable state. There's a number of reasons for that, and a lot of times it happens for no known reason. It's just idiopathic. And once again, the body's way of solving this thrombus is to create collateral flow in the form of cavernous transformation of the main portal vein. Did I write that? So cavernous transformation of the main portal vein. I can't remember if I said the entire thing. You could just say cavernous transformation, but if you want to be complete, cavernous transformation of the main portal vein. Okay. Let's see. Let's add another layer back. So not, I want to get rid of. Okay, so now we're gonna get rid of our thrombus here. Get rid of our thrombus, get rid of our cavernous transformation, because now we're going to talk about sinusoidal. Sinusoidal, in other words, in the liver. So this is going to be cirrhosis. For the most part, it's cirrhosis. Get really bad non-alcoholic steatohepatitis can also cause portal hypertension, but cirrhosis is the number one thing we're going to be looking at here. So sinusoidal. Okay, so let's make this liver a little ugly. All right, liver is now unhappy. It has cirrhosis. It's nodular. It's got a nodular surface, and it's stiff. Liver is stiff, fibrotic, unhappy, and is not accepting blood at this time. Okay. So this blood is traveling in to the liver, as well as, let's draw once again my little hepatic artery is also bringing blood in the liver. But of course, the hepatic artery is an artery. It's under high pressure. The portal vein is under higher pressure than most veins. There's a lot of blood coming into this portal vein, and it's traveling fairly quickly for a vein, simply because of so much volume trying to get in there. But now this liver is stiff. It is fibrotic. It is not happy about trying to take all of this blood. So what it's going to do is, well, initially, this blood is just going to start to back up. Still going forward initially, but it's backing up. And it's going to back up in different locations and very predictable locations, actually. And let's see, make sure it's right. Let's see, what do I have here? Okay. That there. We have now we have splenic varices. Actually, we can, because these so often go together, this varice and this varice, and I'm going to explain this in just a second. We also sometimes call this splenorenal varices, and they could also be called splenogastric varices. Now, perhaps I need to talk a little bit about what a varice is. Ash. Okay. There's, how I always say it plural. I'll keep varices. In other words, varicose. In other words, you've got varicose veins in your legs. Well, it's a similar situation. So varicosities are ectatic. In other words, if it's supposed to be a diameter like this, but instead it's a diameter like that, it might not be aneurysm, but it's definitely large, and so you can call it ectatic. Varices on the legs oftentimes take a crazy route. Varices in the abdomen sometimes take a crazy route. In fact, one thing we'll often see is maybe a pattern like this, and this, you imagine this is all filled in anechoic with blood. And what's really happening is that we're just not quite understanding that this is attached to that, which is attached to that, which is attached to that. It's just coming in and out of the plane of our vision. So we get all these little worm appearances, little circles, all that stuff is varices and in the abdomen. So obviously they're not going to be blue on the screen. They're going to be anechoic unless you put color on, and then they'll be filled with blue or red. So let's see, splenic varices, splenorenal varices. So kind of like from here down to here, if you see varices in this area, those are splenorenal. Splenogastric if it's going more towards and around the stomach. But splenorenal and splenic varices are certainly more common defined than splenogastric. Of course, a gastric being a big gas bag for most of the time is hard to see through. Well, why? Why are these occurring? Well, because the blood is not going to the liver like it should. So, and the same thing in the legs. It's the same basic instrument. So, well, let's start with the legs. The legs, because, well, it's a little more complicated than this, but I'll just say that the increased blood pressure in the veins, and of course, veins should be very low blood pressure, but they do have some blood pressure, increased blood pressure in the veins. And stagnation. I'll say plus stagnation, meaning stagnant. The blood's not moving very quickly, and the veins, with those weak walls, veins increase in size. That's what happens in the legs, and what happens in the portal system is really the same thing. Increased blood pressure plus stagnation. Here I am, portal increased blood pressure plus stagnation equals increased size. Okay, so, and I've definitely seen this. Usually this person's not only are they gonna have splenic varices or splenorenal varices, they're gonna have splenomegaly. The blood is it's not getting to the liver, it's being backed up, getting stuck not only in the veins, but stuck in this organ. This spleen is going to be very large. So splenomegaly, go ahead and write that down. Splenomegaly is likely. Splenomegaly likely. Okay. Well, let's add another layer here. Okay. So remember here, we had this nice little left gastric vein, and well, this branch over here, there we go. This branch over here, that's just going to be simply a gastric vein. But this guy over here, running out of room, that's going to be esophageal. Sometimes, the first indication that a person even has portal hypertension is, let's see, tarry stools. Tarry as in TAR, as in road tar, as in that's what digested blood looks like. When it leaves your body, it looks like tar. These esophageal varices bleed like crazy. You know what? Okay, let's just. Esophageal varices. These guys are bleeders. In fact, esophageal varices can bleed so bad that the patient dies. Death possible. When you think, how can someone bleed to death from these little veins around the esophagus? Well, of course, they're not so little anymore. They're varices, but also think about this. This person has a cirrhotic liver. Death possible? Yeah, because they cannot coagulate. Yeah, I guess coagulate. Whoops. They cannot coagulate their blood. So these esophageal varices are very dangerous. Here, let's add another layer here. Which one is that? Okay, right. Let's see. Rectum. Maybe even hemorrhoidal. I don't know how to spell hemorrhoids. I guess it's a good thing. Not every case of hemorrhoids means portal hypertension, but it is a possibility. And there are other, just intestinal and death in general. Intestinal varices as well. And by the way, that's what hemorrhoids are. They are varices of the hemorrhoidal veins. Let's add one more layer. Ooh, that's the important layer too. Now we're looking at everything. Because sometimes it is possible to have these varices over here and you barely notice anything wrong. The liver might even look pretty normal and the main portal veins pretty normal, but then you have varices, you know, at the spleen. You're like, what the heck's going on? And then you start taking some a little closer look and you say, well, maybe I should measure from here to here. Normal main portal vein measurement across should be less than 13 millimeters. Or of course, that's 1.3 centimeters. So if it's beyond 13, if it's 14, that may be equivocal. But if it's anything but beyond that, then yes, we have a problem. So that's an issue. We have some other questions once portal venous hypertension starts becoming pretty bad. But let me think about what else I want to say. Let's see. We got our. Okay, so we have our main sources. Oh, and by the way, so obviously for these guys over here, we're looking at the spleen, at the liver, probably through the left lumbar region. So you're looking in from the side, the patient's side, looking in, and you're finding those there. Here, that's the epigastrium. So that might very well be the very first thing you see when you start your exam is some unusually large veins or anechoic tubular structures, because you don't know they're veins immediately, in the epigastrium. You're probably not going to be finding hemorrhoids on your patients. I hope not. And intestinal would be very difficult to find because of intestinal gas. There are other locations for varices along the back of the patient, but if they're behind the stomach, behind the intestines, they're very difficult to see in general. So these are the main ones that we worry about. Okay, so main portal vein should be less than 13 millimeters. It should be traveling in this direction. And so let's write that down. Hepatopedal. That's also pretty important. So what happens if it's not? Let's go ahead and hide another layer here. And well, now we have to think, is the pressure so high? Where am I at? Okay. Is the pressure or the liver's unwillingness to take this blood because it can't, because of the fibrosis, is it so high that the blood actually travels backwards? Now, if you think about that, well, how does it travel backwards? Come on, give me my... How does it travel backwards? Well, it's going in through the hepatic arteries, through the sinusoids, through the little lobules there, and backwards down. And so you could have backwards flow because the liver is being fed by the artery, but then mostly drained by the portal. That means somewhere along the line, this is going to have to find another route. So perhaps the blood goes backwards all the way down the splenic vein, all the way down to this little connection here goes all the way to the renal vein, and of course the renal is going to go back to the IVC. So that's one possible route. If that's the case, then this guy's going in the correct direction, but he's actually turning this direction, and then this guy's coming down and he's turning that direction. So that's only one possibility. Well, let's see what I want to add here. Ooh, yes, 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 yes. All right, I'm going to get rid of you. I have seen a situation where, okay, the blood is a pedipedal like it's supposed to be, a pedipedal in the left, but a patafugal in the right. And so, by the way, it's important if there's any kind of question whether or not, because it's standard exam to do a Doppler of the main portal vein. If there is any question at all for portal hypertension, you have to Doppler both the right and the left portal veins, because this guy could be running backwards and this guy forward. Now, why is that? Why would, it seems like the right and the left would be equally affected by cirrhosis. The body has a little trick. The umbilical vein. The umbilical vein can act as a shunt. Let me add that term here. A shunt, well, let's see, I don't have a textbook definition available to me, so I'll have to make one up. But basically, a shunt, let's see, changes the direction, or, well, it's just fine. We'll just, I'm sure there's a better way of saying it. Changes direction. Oh, and how about this? And path of flow. So the umbilical vein acts as a shunt. Now that's really important. When the body does this, and we could say that, let's say this vein right here, that too is a shunt. Now shunts they could be a good thing. They could be a way of the body compensating is what it is, really, compensating for the liver's lack of ability to take this blood. So here, let's actually add some arrows. Oh, this is a lot darker. Compensating is an important word here. But by the way, this is the belly button. You know what? Let's just. I need some room here. Okay. So belly button. Yay. I had a picture the other day of, you can see a guy, he was about to have a paracentesis done. And a very large belly, and that belly was mostly filled with ascites. And if you look closely, the person was on their side, but you could see just a little bit of their belly button. And there were vessels, might as well make them blue. They were vessels going out like this. When you see that, when you look at someone's belly and you see, well, these are, once again, they're varicose veins. That is an indication that their umbilical vein has that's another good word. yeah, recanalized umbilical vein comes down to the belly button, because that's where it came from, is the belly, through the belly button. And varices travel along the anterior of the abdomen going away. And so that blood is traveling out. Early doctors had a name for this. Put Medusae, the head of Medusa, because it looked like snakes traveling off in different directions, like Medusa's hair. So they put Medusae. Okay. So let me talk a little bit about this, because this is the body's way of fixing itself. These, especially the shunts. The shunt created by the body, so that shunt and let's see, this shunt and others are certainly possible. The shunt is the dyslexia, body's way of fixing the problem. Let's put that in brackets, of the body's way of compensating. If the body did not do this, the patient would be dead. By bypassing the liver, and that sounds like a crazy thing because the liver is such an important organ, but by bypassing it, we're actually giving this patient, or the body is giving this person, time to live another day. And so even when the blood is running backwards, enough hepatic activity is occurring through the hepatic artery system. Hepatic arteries feed the same exact hepatocytes as the portal vein. It's just certainly not as good, but it still works, and this person can live another day as long as they have these shunts going on. I don't know that we're going to get to it today, although I'd really like to. I would like to talk about man-made shunts as well. Let's see, where am I in my progression? Yeah, you know what, we could do it. I know this is a long day, guys, but we can do this. Let's just get rid of this later. Okay. Okay, so we have all of our varices and our shunts going on over here. This person's a real mess. But let's say, let's just take that major shunt away. So now this person has varices and not a whole lot of shunting going on, but this person needs help. This person needs, they didn't create, their body didn't create the shunt that they need in order to live another day. So we're going to add one for them. Okay, we can do this. We can do this, guys. I know we can. Let's do this guy. Portacaval shunts. Porta, or porto, caval shunt. Oh, shunt. Okay. End to side. What they're saying here is they've literally taken the main portal vein, cut it, and stuck it onto the IVC. Now that's crazy. The whole reason for the portal venous system to exist is to go to the liver. And here this doctor came in, cut it, and shoved it into an IVC instead. Remember, he still has a hepatic artery going in and feeding this liver. That's end to side, the end of the portal vein to the side of the porta cava. This is not well drawn at all, but side to side, basically, what you draw is I should have drawn is a circle, and then like literally take two separate veins and attach them side to side and sew it across here. That's really what they should have drawn here. It was just lazy on their part. So side to side, portacaval. This one, we don't need to look at the portacaval again. Number 2, mesocaval, meaning going from the superior mesenteric vein over to the IVC. Mesorenal, I don't think is in your book. Superior mesenteric vein to the renal vein. And then splenorenal. Oh my God, we just took the entire splenic vein and said, you know what? Forget you, spleen. We're going to take you out anyway. And I don't know if they do a splenomegaly or splenectomy with that, but the splenic vein is now down to the renal. And that is basically these are all shunts that creates a situation where now the blood flow comes up, down, around, and then up back to the heart. It completely bypasses the liver. Same thing here. Bypass the liver, bypass the liver, and bypass the liver. Okay, guys, hang on with me. Tips, well, that's the most important one. All right, let's go ahead and we'll go to tips. I know this is long, guys, but you can do it. I know you can do it. Because this one, let's put both of these pictures up. This one's the more common. If you want to create a shunt without doing open surgery, this is the way to do it. Tips. I always have a hard time. Okay, I forgot to write it down. Let's see. So, S transjugular intrahepatic portal systemic shunt. Transjugular intrahepatic portal systemic shunt. So in other words, they took a little guide wire down. Let's use a color we can see a little better. They took a guide wire through the jugular, down, past the heart, through one of the hepatic veins, probably honestly not this one, but that's okay. And then shove it right through the parenchyma into the portal vein to here, and then they expand a little graft in here. They expand that graft, and then they remove the wire, and the graft, of course, stays behind. And now blood flow comes up, bypasses the liver. So tips, far more common than all of these others where they're doing open surgery. what it looks like on ultrasound. It's actually pretty cool. They've come, it looks like middle. That looks like the middle. You're not seeing, so this is the left hepatic vein, middle hepatic vein, and then the right hepatic vein we're not seeing. That's coming down here, right hepatic vein. And this is the most likely, I can't see 100% clearly here, this is most likely the umbilical segment of the left portal vein. And so what they did is they came down, they started to follow the hepatic vein, and then they broke right through the side wall, found the portal vein, removed that wire, and left this guy behind, creating a shunt. Of course, our job as sonographers is to make sure that this is patent. In other words, patent meaning open, and the blood is flowing through there. And of course, we Doppler here, we Doppler in the middle, we Doppler at this end. And I think there was only one other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. I hope this isn't too much in one day, too much in one sitting. Before I had mentioned, there was pre-sinusoidal, sinusoidal, and then there's actually a post-sinusoidal, and that causes the same kind of problems, but it's post-sinusoidal because it is, let's use this guy again down here, thrombosis. It, the most likely cause is thrombosis. Let's do a purple thrombosis down here of the hepatic veins. So the blood can't travel into the liver. So this person doesn't, okay, so no cirrhosis, there's no cirrhosis needed for post-sinusoidal. It's just blood can't get out. If we take our hepatic veins up here, I don't want to draw that. If we take our hepatic veins and thrombose all of them, the blood cannot get out. That causes a backup of blood here. And once again, we have portal hypertension presenting very similarly, except without a cirrhotic liver. Okay. Quickly, can we go back? Come on. Portal hypertension due to cirrhosis, sinusoidal, post-sinusoidal.
You said that it was caused by a thrombosis and which set of veins in the liver?
The hepatic veins. Oh, might as well give you the term. So yeah, well, how about this? I will draw it in. Too close. Let's see, I draw my, here's my right, middle, and left. Hepatic veins, I'm too close. I can't write when it's that close. Okay. If they are thrombosed, the term or the name of that condition is called Budd-Chiari. So, and I've seen this. Fortunately, I had a patient came in very alive. He had only one of his veins was thrombosed, and basically a whole section of liver was dead, completely dead. But he had other sections of liver that were living, so he didn't even know it. But if this vein is thrombosed, and this vein is thrombosed, and this vein is thrombosed, or it's kind of the same difference, the IVC is thrombosed, all the same difference. Blood cannot, it starts to enter, but it cannot leave the liver. And so that's just another cause for it. So when you talk about post-sinusoidal, you are most likely talking about Budd-Chiari. Pre-sinusoidal, a thrombosis is here, and sinusoidal is because of cirrhosis, most likely cirrhosis in the liver. Bam. Let's see, 312. Well, that's not too bad. We started at 2:15, so that's an hour. Bam. That is portal hypertension in a nutshell. I tell you what. Let me either. Oh, one of you asked if I could post a whole bunch of the images that I've done so far, like the actual ultrasound pictures. Blackboard booted me out and said it was too much information even after I zipped them. So I'm going to think of another way that I can make sure that you guys have those videos and those pictures. You know, maybe just links, maybe even a link. I could put them up to Google Drive and maybe give you guys all a link on that. Yeah, that might be the best way. So I'll give you some of those images. I think I should. I mean, I'm pretty happy with my drawings so far today, but a drawing is not the same thing as an ultrasound image. So I will try to find some awesome ultrasound images of portal hypertension and Budd-Chiari and all these different things. Not the hemorrhoids though, but everything else. I'll get pictures of, and then that should be good for portal hypertension. Unless you guys have any questions.
Are we going to have any homework or anything due this week?
Homework this week. I want your homework to be to read, to watch the videos that I post, and that I think is going to be all for the homework. Like I said, we're going to be, I don't know how much longer we're going to be doing this, so we do need to test you. So let me develop the test, and maybe by Friday of this week we'll have you guys do that. And I think for the homework, what I'll also do, because a lot of this is, I certainly don't want to give you busy work for the sake of that. So, I will post reading assignments, but that's, obviously I want you to do them, but really, honestly, it's more for keeping record that we're doing something with you guys and making sure you're involved. So
what you call it, there was somebody that posted a thing that the El Paso Council voted to extend the stay-at-home thing until the middle of May.
Oh. You know why? You know why? Because those dipsticks from UTEP going to Mexico, coming back, infecting God knows how many people, and then there's been a couple of parties. So while the rest of Texas is past its peak, we're still peaking. So thanks to those guys. Man, I gotta I gotta hit the gym. And the good news is I've lost 10 pounds. The bad news is 9 of those pounds was muscle. So anyway, all right, guys. I'll post this on YouTube as well, and let me try to figure out how to get more images to you guys. Maybe some more links for you to look at. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Kurt.
All right.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
All right, guys. Bye bye.